Hey, what's up? Welcome to my channel. My name's Alexa, and today I'm going to be doing a very exciting tag that I made up myself for the Legend of Korra. So a few months ago, I did the Avatar book tag, and this was created by oh, what is her name? It's a clockwork reader on YouTube. I believe her name's Hannah. And when I made that video, I already was thinking, you know, is there a Legend of Korra tag? And if there isn't, maybe I should make one. And so I began making one a while ago, and then I totally forgot about it. And then I was looking at my notes the other day and I saw it like half done, so I was like, okay, let's finish this up. And this was really fun because I don't know, I got to be like so creative with it and come up with all the questions and the answers in the books. So I broke it up into 4 categories: characters, villains, places, and bending. So let's just jump right into it. I do have my my flying bison shirt on today because I had my other Avatar shirt on in my last video, so I thought I'd wear this one, you know, spice things up. The first character is Korra, favorite strong-willed character. For this character, I chose Ayla from Cryer's War, who honestly reminds me a lot of Korra. Like, as soon as I made this connection, I was like, totally, they would be besties. Ayla's just so strong-willed and so stubborn, but also just so badass and will totally fight. Like, she will throw hands for what she loves, what she cares about. Just such a strong-willed character. The next character is Asami, an unsung hero character, and by this I just mean like a character that, you know, deserves more hype, deserves more attention, definitely is just like the unsung hero of the book. And for this character, I chose Mina from They Never Learn. I think Mina gets attention in the book, but I feel like she's the kind of character that just like sneaks up on you and you like don't think you're gonna care about her, and then she just ends up being someone you care about so much. Like, our character just completely blows your mind by the end of the book. Now the next character is Mako, broodiest character, and for this one I chose our main character in My Year of Rest and Relaxation. This main character is actually unnamed, so there's no name, but she is definitely one of the most broodiest like characters I've ever read, because she's trying to sleep for a year. It totally turns into her, you know, dealing with feelings of irritation and aggravation, and she definitely doesn't treat the people around her very nicely, so I thought this was a good choice. The next and last character is Bolin, character that provides your favorite comic relief. And for this one, I chose Mila or Mila in One Last Stop. It's spelt with a Y, but I want to say Mila so bad, so I'm gonna say Mila. I feel like she was one of the best side characters I've ever read. She just totally like calmed down and just made light of every situation that all the other characters were kind of freaking out about. And there were so many times where she just like threw out one-liners that I just genuinely thought were funny. Like, I really thought this author had a grasp on like friend groups and like the banter between them. Next we have the villains, and I think the villains in Legend of Korra are everything. I love how they have like a new villain every season, and the first one is Amon, a book that focuses on equality. So for this book I chose Long Way Down, and I chose this book because in this it's basically like written kind of like in a poetry format, and it basically is about this boy wanting to get revenge because someone killed his brother, and he goes to get revenge, but this book actually is pretty much solely set in an elevator. And while he's contemplating getting this revenge for his brother, he's on this elevator, and every stop he kind of meets a person from his past or something like that, and they kind of almost like talk him out of the idea of going and taking another life. just because someone took his brother's life. And I think this really fits because it really like toys with the idea of, you know, will that heal you? Will that right a wrong? And so I think it does really toy with this idea of equality and what that even means. Wait, what's her uncle's name? I literally just wrote her uncle. What the fuck was his name? I don't want to say his name was Tarlock because I think that was another character that just looked like a man. What was his name? Unalaq. Okay. Like, this is how you're supposed to sit, and like this is how I sit, like just so everyone knows. The next villain is Unalaq, or Uneva, like when he fuses with the dark spirit Vatu, and that one is most deceptive character. So for this one I chose I don't even know the name of this thing. What was its name? Oh, its name was Aiden. It was basically the AI system in Illuminae. So I chose the AI system in Illuminae because it was interesting because like in this book it was a character, like they were a character, but they also like weren't a person. So they were very deceptive because they basically thought that destroying like the ship would like help the people on board. I kind of forget. I read this a while ago. Like I forget exactly what the system did, but they basically just kept fucking over everyone like over and over again, and they were like, hey, can you stop doing that? Like we're literally dying. And he was just like, no, like this is actually for the best. The one main character in here, like she was really smart, so she like gained their trust, but then he still kind of like fucked her over. So yeah, very deceptive. The next one is the Red Lotus, a book with a group of characters that band together / found family trope. And for this one I chose The Rise of Kyoshi. I think this one is perfect for found family, and especially like a group that bands together, because that's exactly what happens. Kyoshi goes off to be the avatar and understand her avatarhood, and she brings Rangi, but she just finds people along the way to come with her and really like finds a family. It's honestly something I miss so much in the second book, because the found family and the specific people in this found family were just not as present in the second book. And I also really like that this found family is not all people of the same age. It's like Kyoshi and Rangi, who are obviously around the same age. There's like another boy who's around the same age, but then there's like some older people. So it really like plays into family dynamics when, you know, you're with people of a different age who might have like more wisdom. The next one is Kuvira, a guilty pleasure villain character, because I know there are so many Kuvira simps out there. Couldn't be me, but for this one I chose Queen June from Iron Heart. I loved her character. Queen June is this character who basically everyone calls her like the evil queen, the mad queen, like whatever, calls her a bunch of names, but she's actually not that at all. She's actually like so loving and compassionate and nice, and she actually like started the rumors herself so she could be powerful. And this is a bit of a spoiler, just so you know, but something I love about Queen June is that everyone thinks she's an automa, but she's not. She's a human. She's literally a fucking human, and it's just so badass, and she just got everyone fooled, and I love her. I love that she like seems so evil and scary and unapproachable, but she's literally the opposite. So the next category is bending, and the next question is lightning, a book where a character exerts a lot of physical strength. So for this one I chose My Sister the Serial Killer, simply because, I mean, I don't really read a lot of books where they're like just exerting a bunch of physical strength, like doing a bunch of like strenuous physical labor. But in My Sister the Serial Killer, they do have to, how do I say this? The main character does have to exert some strength when cleaning up her sister's mess. She's obviously exerting a shit ton of physical strength as well as emotional strength, so I thought this fit. So the next one is Spirit, a book that's themes involve spirituality or the supernatural. And for this one I chose Watch Over Me because I feel like the supernatural in this book almost is like evolves into spirituality in a sense. There's ghosts that are like involved in the story, but it's not something that's like scary or horror like. It's like a lot more spiritual, like they talk to them and like play with them and they're not afraid of them, so I thought that fit well. The next one is Lava Bending, a book with a dire circumstance. For this I chose Lock Every Door by Riley Sager because the end of that book is literally terrifying. And I like this book because going into it and like as you're reading it, I don't think you're thinking that there's gonna be a really dire circumstance. Like you're just like getting spooky like apartment building vibes. But for me at least, like I was just thinking this is gonna be like a supernatural thing, like, and that wouldn't like seem as dire or as scary to me in a book like while I'm reading it. But at the end of this book our character gets herself in some crazy shit. Like it is not her fault, like she does not know what's going on, but the circumstance at the end of the book is so dire. It honestly like bumped up a star for me in ratings. Like the whole time the book was like a 3-star for me, and then like at the end it just really packed it with a punch, threw it up to 4 stars for me because it got so intense and the stakes were raised. The next one is Metalbending, a book that's hard to get into but is worth it in the end. The book I chose for this, and the book I think that is kind of the definition of this question, is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I think so many people go into this and are like, what is the hype about, because it's so slow, it's so boring. I don't think that at all, and I didn't think that when I read it. I like recognized the slow like methodical writing, and I totally sympathize with what people have said. I definitely think it is hard to get into, like I will agree with that. Like it's hard to get into because you're not really getting anything out of it at first, but boy is this book worth it in the end. Like I feel like that's why I say the definition of this question, because the ending of this book, I mean, I don't think I've ever read a book where the ending was as profound as this ending. It just ended so strong and all the rest of it was still so intriguing, but then like by the ending it was like you're just literally speechless. It's actually unreal. So we're getting into the last category, which is places. And the next one is Republic City, a book set in a memorable city. And for this one, I chose Dead Girls, which by the way, I think is one of my favorite covers of the year. Are you kidding me? Dead Girls is set in Harlem in 1926. And this is why I feel like it is such a memorable setting. The setting of New York in general is usually very, I feel like, memorable in books set in New York, but this one being set in Harlem in the 20s is just so distinct and memorable. And I remember this author just doing such a good job of making you feel like you're in that time period and in that place. It was just so well done. So this was the first one I thought of because I feel like New York in general is a really memorable city. So when books are written in New York, it really like stands out to me. But this one stood out in such a different way because it was just like so historical and something I've never experienced. The next one is Xiaofu, a book set in a secluded place or island. For this one, I chose The Martian, and I chose this because our main character is on Mars. He's on Mars, right? Just checking. Is he on Mars? He's definitely on Mars. Okay, yeah, he is. He's on Mars. Good to know. So yeah, our main character is an astronaut. He's on Mars. He gets stuck there. He's trying to survive. It's a lot. This book did do a really good job of like showing that isolation, and I feel like this is a great book to pick for this prompt simply because it's so secluded. There is no one and nothing around, so felt perfect for this one. The next one is Southern Water Tribe, a book with strong family values. And for this one I chose And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer. Is that what it's called? Yeah. This is a novella, so a pretty short book with an extremely long title that I can never remember. And this book essentially is just like, it's a grandfather talking to his grandson and also a father talking to his son, and they're talking about like familial values and ties, and it's kind of just like a like an experimental conversation of like, what would you say to your grandson or your son like when you're an old person. And it goes a lot into, you know, like when the grandfather met the grandmother and all that kind of stuff. It's very sweet. It's just like, you know, a short little novella, but it definitely has really strong family themes. And the last one is Ba Sing Se, a book that follows many points of view. And for this one, I chose Girl, Woman, Other. I chose this one because in this book, there is 12 point of views that we follow. And we follow 11 women and 1 non-binary person in this book. And it's so cool how all of them really connect and come together. I feel like this is another one that I could have just picked for a book that has strong family values. Not all of them are connected by family ties in this book, but a lot of them are, and it makes for a lot of really, really interesting and touching stories. We'll follow, like, I really like using, what's their name? Morgan, the non-binary person, as an example, because we follow them and then we follow their great grandmother, Hattie, and then we follow their great great grandmother, Grace. I'm pretty sure that's how it flows. And you just really get to see things from such different perspectives, and it's so interesting. That is all for this tag. I hope y'all enjoyed, especially if you're Legend of Korra lovers like myself. Obviously, anyone and everyone is free to do this tag. If anyone literally did this tag, I would be so excited. But that is all for now. Thanks for hanging around, and let me know who your favorite Legend of Korra character is. Personally, I have a little soft spot for Asami and Korra. I love both of them. I also really like Opal and Bolin. Anyway, that is all. Thanks so much again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Whoa.